he owns his own business now. He owns his own heating and air business, and he lives at Carolina Country Club now.
Okay.
I mean, he's got a
He's doing it good.
House.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he's wanting to buy 40 acres somewhere, and he told me, he said, if I buy 40 acres, will you come live on it and watch my stuff? I said, well, I have to sell my house and stuff to build me a shop. He said, I'll build you a shop. I'll build you a shop house. And
it's going to be a big shop.
Yeah, well, I don't need too big. I just need big enough to put a couple of my cars in, because I won't be working on them anymore. I done about stopped that.
Y'all hear this?
Let's go to the...
We're going to double check it. We got a new phone this week. I'm not as technical savvy with the phone as I thought.
Live now. Boom.
It's going to be a big shop.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're good. Oh, that's a good shot right there. Got the...
Yeah, I got some of the
Dragstars
prize money in it.
Oh, yeah.
Give us a little turn, get some more of the prize money.
People will comment and stuff.
You answer them.
Yeah, we do a little bit of that. Oh,
Yeah, people ask
it's kind of froze. It's been doing that, yeah. We might have to open that door.
I can open that door if we just lose our cool air.
It's still on.
Okay.
It's just your phone freezing.
Maybe.
You think?
Well, that was just a few seconds ago. Now we're
Hey, Brandy.
a little more delayed.
We might have to swing
Yeah. Oh, it's just freezing on my end, I guess. Brandy, has that froze on your end any?
It's still on.
Okay.
It's just your phone freezing.
Maybe.
You think?
Well, that was just a few seconds ago. Now we're...
Hey, Brandy. Mr. Laney Turner, how you doing?
Yeah, I guess we're all right.
I believe we're good to go. I will check.
Oh, no, she said nope, it's good. We're all good. All fine.
Brandy,
is that
check intermittently.
Landy just got his new motor running.
Mr.
Laney Turner?
Yeah, he's watching.
He's a good friend of mine. He used to be my pit man a long time ago. Him and his first wife.
Well, we got Evan McElreed. Here, let me close this out and I'll go back to it so it'll load.
Re-up us.
We ain't gonna be all behind. There we go.
More better?
Good feed through the laptop. Yep, Ron Score said. Sweet.
Thank you, Mr. Ron.
Yeah. Nice.
All right, so we already got a couple people here, so we're going to go ahead and start. We got Grant Bentley again with us, and this week, as we continue to try and highlight some local talent and people that have been around the area and have stories to tell around the area that would be relevant. We have Mr. Terry Turtle Brannon. For those of you who do not know him, he does a lot of his bracket racing and I guess dial-in type racing at Greer and around the country, but is pretty well known around here. And I'll let him kind of talk about what he does, and then we'll go into how he got started in racing in general. So you just tell everybody kind of about the cars that you have and the type of racing you do and tracks you go to.
Or maybe start with, like, I know the old school, like, street racing.
Yeah.
You and, like, Randall, the Edwards brothers and them.
Billy Edwards.
Yeah, so what got you from
I
street
started
racing?
at 14 years old racing on the street.
Yeah.
And you did all right on the street. You just, you don't want to lose your license, though. I needed my license in my business.
Yeah.
Because I have to drive a customer's car, you know, and you can't drive a customer's car if you don't have a license. And I got chased one night and got caught, and the cop said, well, you're going to jail. And I said, well, I kind of figured that.
Yeah.
What happened was I was next in line to race, and this undercover cop pulls up, and he flashes his lights on the people on the starting line, and he stopped them. I said, well, it's time for me to leave. So I just shot out, went out on the road. I slid out sideways, and boom, 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 I was gone. All 4 gears, 4-speed back in. and I went down the hill, and the transmission locked up. And what it did, it slid to a stop, and I'm grabbing the shifter trying to get it, and I got it in second. I wound it out to 8,500, mashed the clutch in, coasted. I couldn't do that but about one more time, and I did it, and I threw the alternator belt off. So I pulled over here in these people's yard, and he pulled in behind me. He said, "You're going to jail, boy." I said, "Well, I kind of thought that, you know."
Yeah.
I said, he said, "Why don't you stop?" I said, "My alternator belt come off. I didn't want to blow my motor up, you know."
Yeah.
So he said, "Well, let's go back. I'm going to take you back to shortstop up there at Lake Bowen." It was about probably 15 miles away. I said, "I'll drive it, but, you know, I can't go fast." So we went about 5 miles. He pulled me over again. He said, "You can go faster than that." I said, "I can't." I said, "If I blow it up, you're going to have to pay for it." So he said, "Well, let's go." So we went up the road about another mile or two, and he cut his lights on again. And he said, "I'm going to tell you what, this is your lucky day. I got somewhere to be. If I didn't have to be there," he said, I'd run you on in." So that was the end of my last street racing.
Yeah.
I went to the track in 1980. I've been to track since 1980.
Greer?
Yeah, well, Greer, Shadyside, Rockingham, Atlanta, Carolina,
Nice.
all over.
But you started down at Greer and Shadyside?
Well, I went and started at Spartanburg Dragway. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
in my Impala, my first Impala.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I got caught that time, I already was upgraded to a Camaro. So then, you know, I started in Impala. We would drive our car down there, and we would take the mufflers off, put our little slicks on, and race it. If you tore it up, you'd have to figure out a way to get it home. And if it rained, you're really in trouble,
Right.
because you couldn't change your tires and you couldn't put your mufflers back on. So you had to drive it back home, slick and sliding all the way around everywhere.
Yeah.
But that's where I started at with Spartanburg.
Okay.
And they have like a little thing down at the Beacon every year. You know, they bring in everybody that used to race at Spartanburg, all the ones, and they induct them into the Hall of Fame. You know, Spartanburg Racing Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
They ain't got in there yet.
Working on it though.
I don't know, one of these days maybe.
But all the other places. So we were talking earlier. You won a couple championships. You want to list off just a couple of them?
Well, I won Greer.
Won a bunch.
Yeah, and then I won 13 races in the Monza in 1 year.
Phew. And how many races are in a season?
Well, that was between they used to have like the 5-second races, quick 16.
Yeah.
I won those, and then you would advance into the pro, and then win the pro, and go to Shadyside, and they only had like one race up there, but I've done it like 2 weeks in a row. Won both of them.
Yeah.
That's when I was hot, but I won.
That was in a car, and then you went from that to the.
I went to a car to a black dragster that I got from Steve Eckert from up in North Carolina. All right, he's a good friend. Him and his wife, they race, and I bought a chassis from him. And I started in it and run it for about 3 or 4 years, and then in 2001, I bought this green car from Kevin Scales. And that's the one I won. I didn't win any championships in the other dragster, but I won 3 in this one, and a lot of races in it.
And you IHRA, NHRA?
IHRA mostly. I wasn't NHRA certified, so I mostly stayed IHRA stuff. Run Greer. Now Shadyside's not an IHRA track; it's just a outlaw track.
Right. Yeah. But they still do rail cars and pro mods and stuff.
Yeah.
Shadyside, even though
They do the outlaw stuff. Now
Yeah.
they big in that outlaw. You know, they get a lot of spectators.
Oh yeah.
That's how they
for
make
sure.
their money.
Yeah, especially with radials and
Radials and small
Carolina Cash Days.
And everybody wants to see them wreck. That's what they come for. You know, they don't come to see just bored stuff. You got to hit the wall or flip it over or
Put
something
on a
like
show.
that. We don't do that in bracket racing as much as probably some of those classes do.
Yeah.
You know?
We don't want to see them wreck either.
Well, I don't either. I don't see nobody get hurt.
I guess the people that don't have a car might.
Yeah.
It's a-
Well, that's the ones that's spectators.
Yeah, it's very
You know,
similar to
everybody
NASCAR.
else is a racer, and they feel for the racer if he tears his stuff
Yeah.
up. You know, and a lot of the people that race with me are like family. I mean, if you tear up, they the first ones to come over there and try to help you
Right.
fix your car to race against them. You know, because they want to beat you on the track. They don't
Yeah.
want to beat you because you broke.
Right.
You know, they want to beat you on the track. that's their thing. You know, I beat Turtle Brannon.
Yeah.
Or I beat Ronnie Dodson, or I beat Kevin Brannon.
Uh-huh.
Anybody, that's their thing. You know.
I
So
see.
your son races too.
Yeah, my son races. My wife raced until she passed away. She actually moved into the black dragster when I bought this car, and then my son moved into the Monza, running when it was purple and silver. My wife had it painted
I
that
remember
color.
purple, silver,
Monza.
Yeah, the Monza.
and it had orange bead locks, I think.
Yeah.
At the time.
Well,
Yeah.
there's carbon fiber wheels actually,
Okay.
but there's a 4-piece wheel. They had a plastic beadlock, and then
Mhm.
carbon offset, and then a aluminum center, and then aluminum inside.
Yeah.
So you bolt them all together and make
Okay.
them any width you want.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't get a regular wheel when I needed it, and that's all I could find.
Mhm.
So we all put those on our cars, and that was kind of our little being different, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
So in total, how many championships do you think you've got? You and your son, your
my
wife.
son's got a
combined?
lot more than I do. He's won top dragster. He's won quick rod champion. I think he won Greer a while back. He won that finally. You know,
Grant said he won a big race with North Carolina or
he
something.
won at Montgomery.
Montgomery,
It's-
Alabama.
It's the $1
Montgomery,
million race.
Mhm.
You know, they haven't ever paid $1 million there, but they paid out pretty good, like $350,000 to the winners. You know, and I think they was having a little bit of tree trouble, so they
So it's
just
$1 million.
kind of split the money up. you
It's
know.
$1 million total, like
Well,
total
it's
pot
called
for
$1 million
everybody.
race, but they hadn't ever paid $1 million yet.
Oh, I got
You got to have 500 cars to pay $1 million. Now in Tennessee, out I think what the name of that track is, Memphis.
Okay.
They
Right.
actually paid $1 million
They had
at that
500
track.
cars?
$1 million plus, yeah. It was a pre-enter deal where everybody pre-entered before the race,
Mhm.
so they know they had their entry fee
Like
already
locked in.
set, locked in. Yeah. If you didn't pre-enter, you didn't get in that race. You just sit there and watch on
Yeah.
Motor Mania.
Mhm.
So what's that math come up to? $1 million at 500 cars.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
don't ask me.
$2,000
$2,000 to
entry
lock
fee.
in, right?
It's $2,000 entry fee on some of them, and it's like $500 for a buyback. If you lose, you
Right.
get one more shot,
First round.
first round only.
Okay.
So you kind of there's a lot of fun in it. It's very competitive though. I mean, somebody goes out there and gets like a 5 package and get beat with a 4 package.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if y'all know what the package is. But
See,
0, 0, 0, 0 is a perfect run.
Mhm.
And a lot of these people out there now are cutting 0, 0, 0 lights and running dead on with zeros. I actually seen a thing on Facebook the other day where they had 2 perfect runs side by side,
All zeros.
all zeros. I
So
don't know
how-
how they picked the winner. I guess a
yeah.
mile an hour.
How did they pick the
I
winner?
think mile an hour maybe how they picked the winner. The
That's
fastest car.
interesting.
Because it goes to that last digit when it gets down to
Yeah.
there, you know, so you go into that last digit, you know, to figure out who won.
So you cut all zeros?
I've had 2 perfect runs in my life. But it's kind of a fluke, but there are people doing it now like it's just common.
On accident. They just do
On
it.
accident.
Yeah, they do it some way. I don't know how they do it.
Now are they? I mean, you think they're in there with the box or anything?
Well, everybody
Kinda?
practices now.
Yeah.
You know, they got like that over there. They got a practice tree and a little game and everything. I set the game out,
Yeah.
you know, where you...
Let's challenge Brandon Shannon.
Brandon Shannon, Jimmy Shannon's son is. I've seen he's pretty good
Tag
at
him
those
real
practice
quick.
trees.
Let me tag him.
Yeah. Practice.
Yeah, we can hook him up on the tree. I actually hook mine up to the car sometimes, and I can play it inside the car. So
Okay.
you get that real feel,
Uh huh.
you know, instead of just the reaction part.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, Daddy brought me here. You had a party, and you had your practice tree out there, and it was people bought in.
Yeah, we had
to
like
play.
an entry fee.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, okay, you let go when green goes, and it was like,
No, you let
No.
go when yellow comes.
and I know Kevin was in there trying to get the box. He's like, you gotta let go right before green, and green go, and I'd lose every time.
Yeah, you have to practice.
Oh yeah.
Dan said you can lose your life at the light or at a gas station in Spartanburg County.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
That is a fact.
Yeah, you can lose
So-
it going to Ingles.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get Brandon Shannon to come. We get to do it here at Jimmy's. We can see who's the best on the
Right.
practice tree.
You
He's pretty
set 'em
good
up.
from what I hear. I've
Jimmy
never
is
seen him
good.
do it.
Or
but he-
They have a
Brannon.
lot of practice tree races and stuff where they, during the downtime, you know, like say, you know, there's no races, or some of them even do it at the track. you know, after the big race is over, you know, they have like a practice tree race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, everybody puts in whatever, 20, 30 bucks,
Yeah.
whatever, and you run for the pot.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So is that what's the most important part? Is that where is the race won at the tree, or is it one on the
total
big end?
package.
Everything.
Total package. You know, you got to have good on the tree. Your car's got to run consistent, and you got to take the finish line and try to take like an inch or 2 inches at the finish line.
Right.
Running 160 mile an hour. It's not hard.
It's not hard.
To you,
No, it's hard.
I don't think I've ever gone the same exact time twice in my whole life.
Right. Well, you need to run consistent to win at this. If you don't,
Yeah.
you just add the people to the purse.
Yeah.
We can go tenths.
That's called a
Yeah.
duck.
Past that,
That's
100.
called a duck if you can't do more than one. You know,
Yeah.
you
Right.
got to be able to do 10.
Yeah, a lot of people that run like the radio races or just around town or Thursday nights and stuff. They'll say they're gonna go run like a Shady Side will have like a 6.0 index, and they'll say,
Mhm.
I'm gonna go run the 6.0 index, and
Yeah.
I'm always like, yeah, you go do that, because there's people that are coming for that 6.0 index that
Yeah.
run.
Well, they got their car set up. I mean,
They're running a
you
6.0.
can't come in there running 620 and run 6.0s because you're just going to be beat.
Go break out.
Or
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
run 590s and try to slow it down, that's hard too. You
Is
can-
it harder? It's got to be harder to slow it down to sandbag one.
Well, you win more if you can hold numbers and drive the finish line. Because
Right.
if your car's slow, then the guy that's holding numbers over there, he can run his numbers. So he'll just go out there and put a wheel on you
Mhm.
and ride you down to the finish line, and you feel like, I'm done.
That's hard to do at a 4-second 8 mile
You
pass.
have
though.
good eyesight, yeah. You got
Yeah,
good
that's,
eyesight. It's very hard.
If you're talking about an 850 car, that's something. But you're
Yeah.
talking about a car running 480s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I'm about 430, so try
Yeah.
to do it at 160. You know, and
I can't do it at 80 miles. an
most
hour.
of the tracks we go to, they only have like a little triangle on the wall. You know, have
For the
you
finish
been
line.
running 160 mile an hour and tried to read a number on there for what mile marker it is? Well, where'd it go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I'm past it already.
I've never been 160 in the 80.
Right.
So is your eyes on that triangle, or you have a certain
You have
spot?
to focus on everything. I mean, you got to, when you lead a line, you got to look down there and see your finish line. Then you have to look over and size up your opponent. If he's faster than you get about 3/4 of the way before you start really looking for him, because he's usually got a 10 mile an hour run on you. But normally on slower cars, I have the 10 or 15 mile run on them.
Yeah.
So it's harder to drive when somebody's faster than you, because you got to really slow down and judge
They're
how
behind you.
fast they're coming at you.
Right.
Unlike when the slower cars out here, you coming at him, you can judge him easy. You know, you see him.
As long as you don't go too fast.
Right. You got to go down and stop,
Yeah.
or you got to have a consistent car you don't worry about. But you know, I've had cars at times that would just do that. You know, but you go track to track, it changes. Week to week, it changes.
Yeah.
You know.
And everybody runs a similar setup, or
Well, they run door cars and they run dragsters. You know, at some of the SFG races, we race motorcycles.
right.
I mean, it's hard to race a motorcycle. I'm scared they're gonna fall off and
Yeah.
run over them.
And they're that consistent with a bike.
Some of them are. They got delay boxes and everything in them now.
On
so.
motorcycles.
We had a motorcycle finish third at I think it was Carolina. One of our last races, they were letting the motorcycle run with the cars. I think it was Carolina.
That seems a little dangerous.
I've seen
Very
street.
dangerous.
I've seen street races with cars.
Yeah, I don't think I'd run a bike.
Cars and bikes together on street racing. It's the scariest thing
Yeah.
ever.
Well, I'm more scared for the guy riding the motorcycle
Yeah,
than
exactly.
the guy in the
Yeah,
car.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I've always felt if I don't have roll bars around me, I'm not going down the track. You know, I gotta have something safe.
Yeah, I'm not going.
I really won't drive somebody else's car unless I check their car out before I ever drive it. Because a lot of people are like, here, take my car down. I'm like, no. I said, I need to look under your car. I got to look at all over before I
Right.
feel safe. Because if I go out there and their car's about to fall apart and it goes out there and I drive it hard, well, I
Yeah.
can break it,
Yeah.
you know, and wreck it. And I don't want to do that either.
No, I can't believe they still let a bike run with a car, and that's
Now Greer don't. But I mean,
Yeah, no.
they keep theirs separately.
Yeah.
You know, that's smart. Really, he
Right.
does a good job over at Greer.
So the first drag race, if anybody watching don't know me, I grew up on bracket racing. And the first drag race I ever went to was with Turtle and
Your
Dottie.
dad. Yeah.
Yeah, and Dottie.
Yeah.
And I remember I rode with her pulling the Monza
Mm-hmm.
and the Explorer.
Right.
Yep. And I remember, I know I talked probably a million miles an hour because I was a little kid at the time.
Trying to learn everything.
Mm-hmm. And I remember, and after y'all would run, and especially after you would run, Dad was like, don't talk to him, but he's doing his thing. You'd go in this, you had this log book, or what was in the binder, or whatever.
Well, you
it was.
keep up with your reaction time, your 60 foot, your 330, your ET, your mile an hour, your temperature outside, your air pressure in your front tires, your back tires.
Mhm.
I mean, I keep a list of everything.
Yeah.
Now, back when Kevin started going with us when he was little, he would have his own little composition book,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody that run, he'd write down what kind of reaction time and how consistent they was. And, he would write them down, and he said, so I'll know when I race them.
Yeah.
But now he can do it all in his head. He comes up and tells me they hold numbers.
Yeah.
They run honest, so it tells you a little bit of insight on who you race.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Because if they got nitrous, they're going to come down there and spray you at the end. I run a good buddy of mine, Matt Cook, up at Piedmont the other week, and I was in the dragster. No, I was in the truck. And I took the finish line. I was set up where I needed to be. And for some funny reason, he got back around me. And I thought I hit the brakes too hard to let him back around me. I went up and talked to him. I said, I guess I gave you a gift. He said, no, you didn't. I said, why? He said, see that little button? I said, yeah. He said, I sprayed you. So what it was, I took 5 on him, but he sprayed me back and took 5 on me. Because I was on the brakes and he was on the nitrous and the gas. So he inched back around me. And I said, okay, so I'm going to take a little more fish line on you next time.
So is there rules on Power Rider?
No.
They don't
No.
care, run whatever
No,
Pro
you dial
Charger.
in. You dial in. So, you got to run what you dial. If you can't run what you dial, then you're open to somebody that holds numbers, and catch you, or somebody runs real consistent. Some people dial honest.
But there's no weight rules.
No,
there's-
no weights, no nothing.
So are these cars competitive as far as like horsepower and weight goes?
The dragster's probably more consistent than some of the door cars.
So I would figure,
Some of the door cars are getting better. They're getting better and better.
yeah, I would figure a lightweight car is still easier, more of an advantage
Than a heavy car.
than a heavy car.
It is.
Just like in any other type of racing, because you can slow it down or you can speed it up.
Well, a
Easier
lighter
and
car reacts
quicker.
better and does it all the same better than a heavy car does. Because a heavy car don't react the same every time, unless it's slow enough. If you got it slowed up for the right speed, then it'll be consistent. But if
Right.
like my little truck, I got too much power in the truck. Really, I need a little less horsepower, but I like to go fast.
You got what, 632 in there?
Yeah.
What's
Did
in this got a big motor?
Yeah, it's a 622. My son built this motor for his dragster, and I took the 632 out of this one and put it in my truck, and I bought that motor from him and put it in there. It was one of his special setup motors.
Okay.
A little bit quicker than some of the other motors that Par put out.
Mm-hmm.
Right, aluminum,
Aluminum.
carbon fiber body. Who just
That's a Maddox race car.
Dale Maddox.
Dale Maddox.
Yep.
Dale
Who
and
just built
Kip
the
and
body?
Shane. It come out of I can't think of what the guy's name is. The body comes from I can't remember what his name is, but he's a real nice guy because I see him at all the races. But the fenders come from Texas, where the fenders come from. I usually run those to keep it clean, but
Are most of them carbon or fiberglass?
well, a lot of people they're going to carbon because they like the lighter, but there's still aluminum bodies. I don't know
Aluminum.
exactly what the
This
weight
one's
difference.
aluminum?
Yeah, this is aluminum body here. That's a Maddox body, but it's a Danny Nelson car. They reskinned that one for me because the other body had a lot of damage.
So which tire do you prefer, the Hoosier or the Mickey top?
It's according to what car I'm running. That dragster right there loves Mickey's. My truck likes Hoosiers.
Okay.
Right.
So I gotta go for what works for me. It could have been my chassis because I was playing with the chassis a lot, and I
Right.
changed the gear because when I first built the truck, it had like a 488. It was set up for a small block, and it would just rotate the tires. But I took it to Vegas with Kevin. I drove his big rig out to Vegas and took his dragster, and we stopped and picked up another dragster Jeremy Hancock, picked up his dragster in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and me and a buddy of mine, David Stevens, they call him Big Dave, we rode out there, and actually I got out there, and I didn't have enough air in the tires, but I had a perfect run out there, and I had like 3 buys because I had such good lights.
Mm-hmm.
And his father-in-law come over, my son's father-in-law come over, and he said, "How you doing that? Cutting them 00 lights back to back like that?" I said, "It's just, one of them days. Some days you can do it, some days you can't."
Mm-hmm.
But I was doing good out there, and I had to run jeggy. And I think it was like the 4th round or something like that, and I took 2 thousandths out because I thought I needed to be a little better. Went 2 thou red and lost. But I had fun out there. But
Yeah.
that was a long ride. It was like
I
two
bet so.
2 to 3 weeks before we got back.
Is that how you determine which tire you like better, by 60-foot reaction?
By
How they-
consistency.
you
Whatever.
find one lasts longer than the other?
Well, the Mickeys probably last a little longer than the Hoosiers do, but the Hoosiers I think is a little bit softer compound what I use.
Right.
So they you can do 2 or 3 burnouts and go under there, and you got a rubber film under the fender. You can roll it up with your hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bead of rubber
Yeah.
On the Hoosier?
on the Hoosier. Now the Mickey's not quite. They'll last me a year, or I can get 2 years. 2 sets of tires a year on dragster if I run it all the time. Truck probably takes 3 sets a year.
How big of an air pressure difference between the truck and the dragster?
The heavier the car, the
1,000
more you
pounds.
have to run.
Yeah, 1,000 pounds on it.
Yeah, so I run like 9 on my truck, and I run like 5 3/4 on dragster.
2,000 something pounds.
Yeah.
Right there.
The lighter the car, the less air you could get by with. But you need, you get down so low, you either have to put screws in your tires or run B-locks. I prefer B-locks because I can change my tire anywhere I want to
Yeah, stay in the
with
shop.
B-locks. Yeah, with screws, and you got to have a tire machine to get them off.
Got me froze up.
No, it's going.
You got any questions?
So, back to the power adder thing. So let's say you run, like I remember when Kevin had the Pro Charger on his
Right.
dragster. Why put? I'm not. Maybe a dumb question, but why put the Pro Charger on there? Is it because he knows he can go so fast and
Well,
run
he
his
was running
time?
top dragster, and it's a qualifying field. So
Oh,
you got to
okay.
qualify. If you're not
Okay.
fast enough, you can't qualify.
Oh,
He
okay,
actually
okay.
had to slow it down because they dropped the ET down slower.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they got them down, I think 5s or something. But
Yeah.
That's they let them go. They
Uh-huh.
didn't let them go.
That was in the quarter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quarter.
Didn't know if it was like they just threw it on there, like they knew they were that fast and can run their
No,
time with that
it
power
was,
adder.
it was fast.
Oh, that's
It's scary.
Yeah.
Very fast.
With the
said-
Pro Charger on?
Oh yeah.
What was it run? F1 crank mount or something?
It was a Sidewinder, I think, is what he had on his one time. I'm not sure what.
On
the
a
brand-
big block.
On a 540 power motor.
Mhm.
Yeah, all his motors are power motors. All mine are power motors now. I used to do my own, but Power does a good job, so I let them do it.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, Scott Duggins.
These motors like this are a little bit different than just a regular big block. Now, I could do those all day long, but these, you got washers and things that has to be set up perfect.
Mhm.
You can't push that kind of horsepower with something if you don't have it set up right.
Yeah.
You can't go out there with something too tight or something because you just burn it up.
And these run on pump gas.
Yeah, not pump gas. Now this is the X14 is what that is.
X14.
Yeah.
VP.
Yeah.
Is that an oxygenated fuel? I've never heard of
I
that.
about to
No,
say
I
I've never
think it's
heard of
oxygenated.
it.
I
Leaded.
think the nitrous fuel is oxygenated.
C23.
Yeah. Well, they got some X16 that's oxygenated too. I tried some of it in mine, and it just picked my mile an hour up 3 miles an hour.
Right.
But it wasn't consistent because I had it mixed with some 14.
Mhm.
I was trying something, it
Yeah.
didn't work.
Hmm.
But it flat turned my header solid white on my truck, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
took it out. I
yeah.
took it out. I knew it was lean.
I've got to break the seal. I will be right back.
Grant's gonna break the seal.
Yep.
What we got this weekend coming up?
I'm gonna probably just run the rear.
There's a race.
Party on the Mountain, Tennessee.
Yeah, I'll tell everybody real quick. So we got this weekend while Grant's don't hit the cord again.
Nope. I'm not going to step over it.
English Mountain Raceway in Tennessee. I believe it's a no prep event. I will not be there. My car is still being fixed. I forget who was putting that one on, and then Also, we got an update on Larry on the way here. We talked to him on the phone. So he's back at his house. He's doing better. He's going to have his Fox body back at Greer tomorrow. The doctor can't keep him from the track. So that's good news. I'm not sure if he is allowed to consume anymore. You probably won't see him at Zorbas for a while. But nonetheless, he's doing better. Liver's doing good. I know everybody was watching out for him. And that's all. Oh, and what's Shady Sides? Shady Sides
They got a 3-day race. It's a Ronnie Buck Memorial race.
Shady Sides got the race for Ronnie.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think, what theirs is.
What are they running? They're running
490s.
Pro Mods.
Yeah, they got 490 cars there too, I think, and brackets and foot brake and, you know, a lot of motorcycles. I think they have motorcycle class up there. I'm not sure.
Yep.
I know there's a lot of practicing up there.
So if you're bored or if you got time, head up there to Shady Side, support the bus, and
Well, Greer's got their
Mr. Roddy.
Saturday points race too, I think, too.
on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I think it starts at noon,
Yeah.
sometime around there. Plenty of racing this weekend, all types of racing. So it'll be a good time. And then, if y'all can't see this car right back here, you might not. It might look black on camera, but it's not black. It is full carbon fiber, and the guys just come and did a ceramic coat on it yesterday, the day before,
Yes.
something like that.
Day before, yeah.
It looks like a show car. It looks like it would go across Barrett Jackson auction right now.
He's done a good job on it.
But it is a very nice.
I've got some cards too. If people want theirs done, they can see me and I'll give them a card.
Yeah. Who did it?
Teeth. I have to look on the card.
But it is a nice car. Tinted windshield, power motor. Is that chrome or polished on the bullhorn?
Stainless steel headers.
Polished stainless on the headers.
Yeah. The FTI transmission. And it's a Dale Maddox car. It's one him and his son Kip built. And Shane started working over there now with them. So I've got all 2 boys over there, and they got another guy helps them. But they do real good work.
So what's the difference here? You got one that's got double adjustable QA1s on it, suspension,
That's called
and a
4-link.
wing, and then the other one's solid with no wing.
Yeah, it's called a hardtail. It's a little older version because a lot of the racers now want to go to the shocks because
Right.
they ride so much better. When you go to stop a hardtail,
The back end come up.
you ever had a basketball? You bounce it on the ground and it goes this high. You bounce it again, it goes up here.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way big tires do when you try to stop.
They just bounce.
So yeah, the faster you go, and if you hit your brakes real hard, you get into a bounce. Now the 4-link cars, they don't bounce at all. They ride like a Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
They also, you would think they don't need a lot of bite in them because the length of the car is so long. You don't have to have the instant center's way.
Yeah, it still picks the wheels up on them though and carries them.
Yeah.
If
They'd
they
probably
come up
flip over
over
backwards
knee
for a lot
high,
of
you know,
bite.
you're getting in trouble if you're over knee high
That's
because the air gets under it and stuff, and it can flip you over. But
I remember seeing Spud.
yeah,
He would do a wheelie in his dragster a lot years
the
ago.
chassis is not made to handle that
Yeah.
kind of shock.
Well, there's no shocks on the front.
If you got shocks on the front, you know, it would probably help, but mine's not. See, that Maddox and them don't do shocks. They probably could build you one if you wanted shocks.
Yeah.
That's not in their normal chassis. But they're flexible, you know, they pretty much do whatever you want if you want it done. Like my fenders on here, you know, when I told him I wanted to build this car, he's like, fenders? No, fenders.
Mhm.
I said, if I'm going to pay you to build it, I want fenders.
Yeah.
You know, and I put them on there, and I go to races. My son said, that looks like a tractor pull. It don't look like a drag car.
Mhm.
And I said, yeah, come see me at the end of the night.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, all their cars are dirty. You know, got mud all over it and stuff. And I pull in there like I just showed up clean.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, don't fling all the water.
right,
And
all the water stays clean. Now, I took it to the
Shut
track,
down.
and a lot of people are like, that's cool, I love that. Some people are like, it's good for you, but it wouldn't be good for me.
Yeah.
You know, so.
A little different.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
You know, that's what makes this different than most dragsters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go to a dragster, a line of dragsters, and say, oh, dragster.
Mm-hmm.
But you come down and you find one that's different, you like, Well, that's different, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I like being different. I just don't like being like everybody else.
Yeah.
I had never liked that.
Well, it's different. I don't think I've really ever seen one with fenders on it.
Yeah.
Yours was the first one I saw.
Well, there's Bud McCarty had his out first. He had one. He took his off now. He's got his one of his boys driving his, and they don't like the fenders either, so they took them off. But if the wind hits you just right with the fenders coming sideways, it'll actually blow you out of the groove. So I actually took them off on that $50,000 race, and everybody said, you don't touch a car in the middle of the race, you know, because it changes the ET. It picked up 3 numbers, and they like, you just picked up where you left off. You know, you was doing good, and you took the fenders off, and you just kept going. And they like, you don't do that. That's against the rules. You know, not against the rules of being consistent. Not against the track rules, because you can change motors if you had to.
So does the wing help
It gives a little more downforce.
keep it planted?
Yeah, if you run top dragster and you going quarter mile, I think you have to have a wing. But these fenders, IHRA and NHRA look at these fenders as a wing. So you don't really have to have a wing, but it made it look like a top dragster when I added them to the fenders, because I've got some good pictures that just look killer on coming over a hill with the fenders and the wing and stuff like from Carolina.
Yeah.
Right.
I definitely like the wing for
Yeah.
sure.
I would imagine it picks up if you take the wing off too, though.
It'll probably pick up a couple numbers, maybe. You know, some of them slow you down. I slowed down like 3 to 4 with the fenders. You know, and I took
Mile an hour?
I took all of it off up there at Calant, the last race.
You like that track?
Yeah, that's where I won that 50 at. I like
Oh.
it there. Yeah, and that's
Okay.
my big money race.
Yeah, I'd like it too.
What's your favorite race you ever won?
Probably that one.
There's a lot.
$50,000?
Yeah. We split it up a lot. I didn't get 50,000, but you know, most of us racers, we have this golden rule that if there's, you know, ever how many cars is left, you know, when you get down to where they pay in the money, you can split it, or you can just take what you got. And, you know, it's a good old boy rule. It's like, if you don't want to do
Yeah.
it, we're not going to do it. You
Yeah.
know, everybody has to agree to it. And you split up that purse. And we split that 50 up, and Tommy Cable, me and him raced in the finals, and there was like 31,000 left in between him and me. And we split it with like 1,000 difference. You know, I come home with 16, he come home with 15. You know, but I felt good to come home. And Kevin told me, he said, you just don't know what you did. He said, I said, what? He said, old guys like you don't win that kind of races. All these young kids win that. You ain't supposed to be able to
In
beat
this
it.
car?
Yeah, in this car. Yeah. I've got the picture on the wall over there.
There's the check right there.
On the 17th. There's a lot of checks back here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that y'all, most people probably can't see. We couldn't get them all in here. Too many checks.
Yeah. Well, my son has enough to fill up a room and the roof and everything else. He's got more checks than I do.
Kevin, he's very good.
Yeah.
He is very good.
Yeah.
There was one year he won what, the IHRA and NHRA championship same year.
Yeah, he won one top dragster and one was quick rod, I think, and the other one.
That's highly impressive.
Yeah.
That's consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Yeah. Well,
Does he have a routine every day, or does
well,
he?
he works at Par.
He's got to be a meticulous person, a routine every day, be that consistent through life.
I think he is. You know, he's done good at it. You
Yeah.
know, but to me, I do all my maintenance at home. You know, before I go. Now he'll show up 2 or 3 days right before the big race, and he might swap converters or cams or a motor
Really?
or anything. And I'm like, no, I was a Boy Scout. I was taught be prepared.
Yeah.
You know, have my stuff ready. So when I roll out of here, if I tear up at the track, if it's small, I'll fix it. But if it's big, I'll just take it home and go another day.
Yeah.
He'll fix it.
He can swap a converter and still dial it in?
Oh yeah. Well, he can hold numbers and drive top end on them. He can. I've seen him hold 10 numbers on one run, and that's hard. You know, a lot of people hold 2 to 3. You know,
Tell people what you mean by holding numbers. Like,
well, I mean, a lot of people used to call that
Fast.
sandbagging.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, because you know your car might run 438. Well, you might dial 441. So what that does, it gives you 300ths to get in there and get in their window and put a wheel on them, and if they don't run dead on their dial in, then you can get in there. And if you're a good driver and you got good eyes, you can see that top end and just judge that right. Sometimes you're going to be wrong, sometimes you're going to be right.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's a tough game.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's a number game. I mean, it's all about numbers. If you're good in math, you'd probably be good in racing.
That's why Michael Sutter.
Yeah.
You know him, Anthony Sutter and Michael Sutter?
You might know, you may know Anthony. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he goes
Maybe.
to Greer most of the
Yeah,
time.
Anthony's
He's got a
got
Monza
it.
too. Doesn't
Yeah.
Michael have a Monza?
Michael, I don't know. I know Anthony's got that, what, 79
Maybe it's
something
that.
Camaro.
Something like that.
I don't know.
Which one do you like better? You like driving the rail car or the door car better?
I kind of, I was turned into a dragster guy. I run the Monza for like 13 years, drove it. And I mean, I was happy with it, but the only thing that really turned me to a dragster, I got beat by a guy that put like a perfect light on me and run dead on his dial in. And here I am. I can cut that kind of light, but I can't run that consistent. So I said, I got to have a dragster.
Yeah.
Because everybody was going to dragsters, and I said I had to have a dragster.
Right.
So I run dragster.
If you want checks.
Yeah, if you want checks, yeah.
You got to
And
get a race.
I run dragster, and then I had the opportunity to buy this little truck, and I mean, S10 trucks is like one of the biggest growing car out there right now. You see S10, S10.
Did you
Everybody.
buy it stock or you bought it?
I bought it as a
already?
rolling chassis from Buddy Hutto, my son's father-in-law. He built it to run super stock with, but he was going to run a small block. And I don't have any small blocks, so everything I got is a big block. So I put a big block in it. And it took me a long time to get it to work consistently, because I would run fairly consistent, but I couldn't hold it week to week,
Yeah.
I tore the gear out and I changed it and it got better. And my son said, oh, you need to put this gear in there. So I put that gear in there and boom, it only moved like 2 numbers, 3 numbers maybe on a race day. And that's what you got to have, is something that you can predict. If you can't predict it, you're not
What gear
gonna-
y'all running something like that? Because the
It's
tires
got a
were
410.
33s.
1432s on the truck. These are like 1634s on this. They have like 112 rollout, and the other one's like 105. That's how big around the
Yeah.
tires.
Y'all measure rollout when you
Oh,
get
yeah.
the tires?
Oh yeah, you got to
ma-
match them.
Yeah.
If they're
That's what I
not
was gonna
matched,
ask.
you're going to move around.
Yeah.
So you got to either. There's tricks to stretch them.
You find one brand is worse than the other about rollout?
You most of the time they check them before they send them to you.
Right.
If you don't check them when you put them on your car, then you're asking for trouble. I got a tape measure. I run around mine and put like 6 pounds of air, what I run in it, and check them. They got to be within a 1/4 inch of each other.
I
before
feel like the
run.
Mickey Thompson for 28s, which is what I run, 28 slicks. I feel like the Mickey Thompsons are bigger by about a 1/2 inch
You check your rollout.
than the Hoosier. I actually had to cut my quarter panel more to clear the Mickey Thompson when I took the Hoosier off and put that on there. It
There's
wasn't even
different
rolling.
compounds. There's a harder compound, a softer compound. It's according to what your car likes. I don't mind having soft tires, because I'll just buy more tires if I have to,
Yeah.
because they work good.
So what's the official story how you got the Monza? Since
You wouldn't
you've
believe
had
that car
for-
was actually, I bought it from Vickers Junkyard in Chester,
Okay.
$800. It had been rolled and dumped in a lake.
Mm.
And I brought it back here, and it was actually sitting in this other room right here before I had it enclosed. And I cut out everything except for the doors and the quarters, cut the front end off of it and everything. I took it to Billy Edwards, and Billy built me a full chassis under it. First one he's ever done.
Really?
He's done back half cars,
Uh-huh.
but he hadn't ever done the front. So he went to his buddy Quayne Scott, which Quayne was building a lot of them cars similar to what mine was. And Quayne told him what to do, and he went in there and he built it on jack stands. He didn't build it on jig. He was built on jack stands. But I had to fight it a little bit to get it right there. But it was a ladder bar then, and it done
Right.
monster wheelies. I mean,
Yeah.
the harder you hit it, the higher it would go.
Yeah.
You
And
couldn't
that-
get the engine center right.
Well, you could move it around, but I didn't have enough weight on the front. And then when I went to a big block, it ran like 6 O's. It was fair, but I didn't feel like it was leaving hard. So So I pulled the cam gear off and advanced it 4 degrees, put it back in. It started doing these monster wheelies. My wife loved it because the wheel would be turning, going down the track, and then the wheel would rock back and forth before it ever settled
Oh,
down.
yeah, yeah.
It
The
had
front
that much
tires.
hang time,
Mm.
you know. And spectators love wheelies.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do wheelies, if you slow, if you do wheelies, it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't do wheelies, I ain't got time for wheelies. You know, but wheelies are not consistent
Yeah.
as much. You know, everybody always tells me, well, your car runs quicker if you keep it on the ground, but mine
Yeah.
actually picked up when it done a bigger wheelie. It actually run faster.
It looks like, by the pictures on the wall, it looks like you never got a 60-foot from the front tires on
Right,
that
I
car.
always 60 off the back.
You just judge it off whatever comes on the back
Right.
tire.
Well, you had to kind of look out the window and look down at the guardrail because you couldn't see in front of you. I was at Piedmont. I was telling y'all earlier one race up there, and I've never been to Piedmont with that car before. But Piedmont had the best hooking track they was, and I went up there, and this thing just went from like knee high to straight up sky high.
Yeah.
And the gas poured out of the carburetor on the windshield, and it kept going. But everybody would either red light or get scared because they thought I was going to come down on top of them.
Right.
And I ended up winning that race that day, and I'm like, that was fun,
Yeah.
you know. Because I
Yeah.
love to do wheelies. I've always, even back when I went to school, I was a show out. You know, I love to spin tires.
Yeah.
I like to smell the smoke and drive them. You know,
So do y'all scale those cars, or
not really.
Because when you're on the back tires, the only thing holding it straight is the weight of the car and the rear
The way the
suspension.
rear end's set underneath
Yeah,
it, or the
before
way
the-
your wheelie bars are set, and your shock and everything. You know, you got to have all that just right. But if it's moving around, you can play with your air pressure without having to change a lot on the chassis. But
Just go on the back tires as long
yeah,
as you want.
just ride the back tires out.
So back in the day, which, like I say, like I know a lot of people our age wish we were around the street racing time when
Yeah.
you were back.
Well, I wish I was farther back.
Further.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
because,
Me too.
I mean, I think all the cars and stuff was so cool back in. You
Yeah.
know, people go to a place and they hang out. You know,
Mhm.
sit there and you know they don't do nothing to get
Yeah.
in trouble. They just sit around admiring other people's cars
Yeah.
and stuff. That's all we did, you know.
Yeah.
And then we'd have maybe at 12 o'clock we'd go meet somewhere and have a race.
Yeah. But back then, I've known a lot of people around the area. I've always heard it was 4 names from back in street racing. It was you, Randall Gillum, and the Edwards brothers.
Mhm.
So how was that when y'all raced each other, and, or did y'all have people come from out of town to race y'all? And
Well, I got
how
called
did that
out.
work?
I got called out by Dennis one morning about 2 o'clock in the morning. They called me out, wanted me to come up there and race him, and you know I was game.
Yeah.
I went up there and 300 people up there on the side of the road at night, 2 o'clock in the morning. You couldn't even get through there.
This was back about guessing at what year?
Way back before I got married. Let's see, I'd say I was probably 22, 23.
Okay.
You know, I'm 64 right now, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
What kind of car was you driving?
67 Camaro,
Okay,
4-speed.
Was this the
Red
red
one.
one with the gold
Yeah,
stripe?
red one with gold stripe.
Okay.
And I went up there, and one of the boys, I was racing Dennis,
Mhm.
and he had a friend, Roy Plumley, I think is what his name was. Well, he come over there and he started picking, you know, pushing me, you know, like trying to pick a fight.
Yeah.
Well, he would say something about a Chevrolet, and I'd say something back about a Ford, and we just kept passing it back, and he didn't like me doing that, so he flew
Yeah.
off and hit me.
Dang.
And
Huh.
I just shook it off like that, and I said, you shouldn't have already did that. 3 punches, I couldn't find him. I
Yeah.
knocked him out, he was in the gun. He got up, I hit him 2 more times, and he went back down, and he brought his little boy, little 3 or 4-year-old boy,
Hmm.
and the boy said, Daddy, Daddy. I said, I'm not going to whoop your ass in front of, excuse my language,
Oh,
in
yes,
front
okay.
of in front of your son. I said, but
Right.
don't ever hit me again.
Yeah.
And that guy died a while back, you know, after that. He had a car wreck, got killed.
Mm.
But I raced Dennis that night.
Yeah.
And I'm a hyper person. I'm kind of get up there and go, you know. And I got up there when I went to hit second, I missed it. And I finally got it in there, and I pulled back on him. If I'd have had 10 more feet, I'd have caught him.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't, and he wouldn't race me again. So I said, okay. So we went home. But that was a good night.
Yeah.
It was fun, even though I did lose.
But you had about a couple hundred people show up to a street race just for
Right.
y'all two.
Yeah. Well, he had them all instigated
Okay.
there, and then he's like, who can we call out?
Uh-huh.
Who can we call
Right.
out? We always had a rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
Randall's played his tricks. I'll tell you a trick about Randall in a minute. He'll like that. But Dennis he had 2 cars. He'd come to the Beacon in 1 car,
I've heard about this.
and it would look identical, but it didn't sound identical.
All right.
He'd go home and say, I got to go home and take my mufflers off. Well, he'd come back with a different car. I mean, it's a nitrous sprayed small block. Everybody runs small blocks mostly back in.
Mm-hmm.
So he brought it back out. And, we couldn't ever get together on a race. And,
Yeah.
and me and Billy, since Billy built our car, me and Billy was kind of tight. And
Uh-huh.
we didn't really get into grudging each other as much. We raced. I think he beat me most of the time because he was pretty good at setting it up.
Yeah.
Back that story about Randall, me and Randall was at a race, and he had nitrous on his, and I had nitrous on mine. And he's like, if you take your bottle off, I'll take my bottle off.
Mm-hmm.
I said, all right. He showed me taking it off and everything, but he had like a sneaky Pete under the dash.
Oh.
And you know this, Randall. And he put it in there kind of wrong. And when he went to spray me off the line, it was upside down, and the cycling tube was up in the air.
Fuel hit.
So he got no nitrous.
Yeah.
And he went, bah, 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 bah,
Yeah.
bah, bah. And I beat him. And me and him laugh about that now. He's like,
He won't do that again.
no.
Is he still up there at
Yeah,
Campbell's?
he's working at Campbell's,
Okay.
I think. I don't know if he races anymore
Yeah.
or not, but
I've just always
we
heard.
all talk about the good
Yeah,
times.
I've just always heard the stories from other people, like about Gillum, you, and the Edwards brothers.
When you go to the Sugar and Spice or the Beacon and sit there long enough, somebody's gonna come up there and call you out.
Okay.
Now, I really never did get beat when I was at the Beacon down there.
Yeah.
Where was the racing road back then?
Well, it was all over. The one that mostly everybody run was Dixie Gym up on number 11.
Okay.
And we run up there. We run the trash cans up there on number 9 where Dairy Milliken is. There's a road to the left of it, like going towards North Carolina. That's where I was at when I run from the law that night.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my last street race.
Mm.
But there, and there was a bunch of places downtown, we'd go race. Everybody know their own little secret spots.
Yeah.
Right.
But you had to be careful. What got you most of the time was, a crowd.
Yeah.
Of course.
You
all
got
these
one
people.
car going one place, one going another, you're fine. But you put 5 of them together, ding, 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 you set off the alarm, to a highwayman or a county or city
It's
cop.
not changed a bit either. They still that way.
Yeah.
Mm.
I left the Beacon one night and I was playing and I did a bootleg around and I was going home. So I went home. I got all the way to Highway 9 up there where the old fleet station was, and the cops flew up behind me. They're like, I've been trying to catch you for miles. I said, I didn't even know you was after me. I said, what you after me for? He said, reckless driving. I said, for what? He said, what you did at the Beacon. I said, you chased me that far? And they took me back to the city jail, put me in jail. But, I think it was just a fine, They didn't really throw it to me too hard because I was cooperative, I don't try to fight the law.
You can't argue with them if you.
Well, I'm not going to.
You're out there
I'm not
racing.
going to. I respect them,
Yeah.
I think they got a hard job. They do now.
Yeah. That's
I don't see how they put up with some of these people.
Mm-hmm. When I had my and also Jeremy Fowler says hey, he misses
Hey,
racing
Jeremy.
with you.
Yeah.
But and Lanny Turner said love seeing the Monza do some wheelies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the good days when he helped
Forrest.
me and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he started out helping me.
Really?
I've had a lot of people, that's where they got their start at. Like
Yeah.
John Bridges, he
Mhm.
was my pit man, and now he's racing, and his son Junior Dragster race, and now he's up into a Maddox cars.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think his son's out of Maddox, but
Yeah.
John just got a brand new Maddox car.
Nice.
There's a lot of Maddox cars out there, and one of the last ones they built, it's got a supercharger on top of it.
Mhm.
I mean, it's got a heck of a paint job on it.
Yeah.
He won Best Superior in at Piedmont.
Okay.
I mean, it's a killer looking car. And
You
it
never
sounds
want
good.
like a big 1071 sitting on top of your.
Oh, I'd love to have a blower motor.
I remember when I was a kid, you built that blower motor in that. It was a '67 Chevelle, that red one.
That's Rick Mize.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a 468 with a
It was a-
671, I think.
Oh, yeah, I think
Or a
671.
871.
That's the first blower car I ever worked on.
Yeah.
And I cranked that thing up once we finally, he helped me a lot, and me and him worked together on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we cranked that thing up, and there wasn't any cars going down the road, and that thing was doing that blower whine.
Yeah.
You know, you could hear it, and it was echoing down through the woods. And I'm like, listen to that, woods, you ain't never heard that before.
Yeah.
But it was 1,000 horsepower on the street.
Yeah.
I mean,
Back
anytime
then.
you just touch it,
When
it
was
just
that?
smoked the tires.
That I was a kid because that was when I had first seen the first Fast and the Furious, and my dad said, "We going to Turtles. You guys see this Chevelle? He just built this motor for."
Well, I didn't
And
build the motor now.
er-
Fulton did the short blocks,
Okay,
and
okay.
I think Hard did the heads, and I just
Yeah.
put it in and made
Okay.
everything work.
Yeah, he's
Right.
like he just put this car together for him, and it was the big blower, and it did not sound anything like I thought it would because I was stuck on that movie as a
Right.
kid, and it that big old whine, and I'm thinking,
Have a little
Why
surge
is
to it.
oh yeah, it was.
It had the romp to it, had the lope.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like,
Well,
why
now
is
you
this
can
thing
get that
whine?
out of them if you. I think it's in your carburetor. You can get that out of them. You know, make them idle smooth. You know,
Mhm.
but I like to hear the lope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to stage one of these cars with a lope because if you're not hard on your brake, we go in so soft. I mean, you only want to move like a 1/4 inch at a time.
But change your 60 foot.
Yeah, it'll change your reaction and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, when the blower surges, it'll throw you in real deep if you're not careful.
Mhm.
And you got to be good at staging it. There's some
Yeah.
people
Is
that's
it
gotta
easier
know.
to stage deep or is it easier to?
We can't stage deep in our class.
You're top bulb, you said.
Yeah, we top bub. Now, if you foot brake, you can stage deep, which that means you're cutting out the top bub, and your
Yep.
second yellow stays on. You know, but you're closer to red lighting. If your car don't react right, you can stage deep, but you have to ride deep on your car. If you don't, the tower will turn the tree on you before you're ready, and you'll be like, I'm not done
Oh,
yet.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, so
I
you
see.
got to put deep on your car
Well, that's,
so they know.
I've noticed that because I didn't know if it was just for funsies or just to be funny because they stage deep. But I saw Jessica Hicks on her car because we went to Greer a couple Saturdays ago for a bracket race, and then they had a little small tire shootout, and she had deep on her car.
She
So I
probably
guess
got a
that's
foot
why.
brake car.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she does.
yeah,
She
foot
does.
braking.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was like everybody knows she stages deep, and that's
Well, if you
her
got
thing.
deep on your car, you really supposed to know what your other competitors doing.
Okay.
You know, so you got to kind of watch them a little bit on top of what you're doing your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you know they go in deep, they're going to cut on one light, and you cut on one, and then they'll cut the top one out,
Yeah.
and then you can cut your second one on. But if you go ahead and cut your second one on thinking you're ready, and she's trying to go deep, they're doing it on the throttle and the brakes, so they have to inch it in real
Right.
soft.
Okay.
You know, so you can burn your stuff up trying to, and if it gets in your head,
Yeah.
if you think about
So-
it,
so
it
the
slows
people-
you down.
Yeah, so the people that deep stage, do they play with front tire size and stuff?
Oh yeah, always. The higher the
Because you got rollout on the front too.
Oh, yeah, they do air pressure too. You know, you can let air out and it'll slow your light down, or you can put air in and it'll make your light better.
Right. Change 60 foot, ET, everything.
Well, it don't really. It might change it a little bit. It's not going to be a whole lot. You know, because that little fraction there, but it affects your
Well,
reaction
not
time.
These tires.
Well, so, but then again, are they
these
more?
tires are small.
Then again, are they more prone to red lighting, staging that deep?
Yeah. Well, see, that car right there has a flap in it because the sun actually shines through the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that little flap right there, that
Yeah.
little flap. Maddox
Oh, yeah.
makes that flap, and it keeps the beam from shining between the spokes of the wheel.
Ah.
So it lets you stage the same every time.
Okay.
Now, like if you didn't have that, and you go to somewhere, and if I had chrome wheels on it,
Mm-hmm.
back a long time ago when they had lights for photo cells, now they got red LEDs. But the sun shining on that rim would send a signal back to the box where you're staging, and the tree would come on, but you're not in your spot yet.
Mm-hmm.
And if you roll up, you know, it'll go out or come on, and you're like, what's going on?
Right.
But now they mostly LED and everything, so you can't, the sun don't put out a LED
Yeah.
light, you know, that triggers it.
That's interesting.
I would have never thought about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes people, they'll tape up their wheels and stuff, and I don't like to see all that tape on there, you know. I
No,
like
that's
to,
a nice little thing.
So
I
you
would
got-
never even known it was there.
no.
well, chrome ones now, they would put shoe polish on the chrome,
Mhm.
you know, mark it all the way around, take the glare off.
Dull
of
it up.
So, yeah, dull it up.
Oh.
That's a trick, you know, people do. the way it used to be. I like the old bulb. The stage bulbs now are they're LED and they're so bright. When they're on, you almost can't even see the tree.
Yeah.
They're so bright, it blinds everything from there down.
Mm-hmm.
They
Right.
need to go back to a softer bulb on the top, and then you could see the tree better. To them it's like, well, we got the newest thing, but the newest thing's not always the best thing.
Right.
It's probably more reliable and don't blow as many bulbs,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes it harder on the drivers to drive.
Yeah.
Speaking of new stuff, how many of these guys running EFI versus carburetors?
Not many.
None.
Not many in our classes. There was some, and one guy won the $1 million race. He had EFI and stuff on his, but I don't know if they've got the consistency in it yet, because it'll still change, when the weather changes, 'cause
Well, I think they would run it off of air temp and map sensor. That would
Yeah.
be.
yeah, they don't use oxygen sensors that much because it won't read. They don't have the back pressure to run an oxygen sensor.
With the the headers are short.
Yeah, I mean you could stick a probe in there and you could get a reading off of it, but I
If it's-
judge mine by mile an hour when I'm jetting.
Yeah. Well, if O2 sensors, like in that car, if it's too close to the exit, it'll just read the air outside instead of inside.
Right.
Then you don't get a correct
Yeah,
reading.
it's not helping you.
Y'all don't use the O2 sensor at all in these.
No.
You just
Now my son did on his Pro Charger. He had them on his. Some of them put it on each tube. That's got the sophisticated setups, and they use some fuel injection on some.
right.
Like all the most of the street outlaws looks like they go into EFI and stuff and do away with the carburetors.
I wouldn't know where to tune a carburetor. That's what so I do nitrous work every day. I get calls and people say, can you tune my carburetor?
Right.
Anybody to tune it? I say, go down to Greer
Yeah.
on a Saturday and find you someone to get along with, and that's who's going to tune your carburetor.
Mhm.
Because
Well, I get calls all the time because I'm probably the last guy that just totally does muscle car work.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm retired now, so I still help a friend out or something, some. But I get people still call me. They want me to tune their setup, and help them get it idling better. And some of them's just street cars, they're not drag cars.
Yeah.
Most people got a drag car, they can pretty much adjust it themselves,
y'all run Holly carburetors or Holly style
Yeah,
carburetors?
I got APD carburetors on mine.
And you did, mine just drew a blur. The orange Camaro, his brother,
Danny West.
Danny West.
Yeah.
And you tuned his
Yeah.
and whatnot?
Now he's
Okay.
got an under the hood blower on his, but we
Oh,
hadn't
okay.
run it yet. He's got a brand new paint job by Danny Sis painted.
Mhm.
After hours paint job, he done a killer job.
I
He
think I
put
wired his car. didn't
quarter
I?
pound.
I think you did, yeah.
I don't know
At
if you
one
did or
point.
not.
Or
He had
I
a-
thought you did. It's the orange and black stripe.
He had a
67.
68, yeah.
60 something.
7.
67, right?
Yeah,
I
I
can't
think it's
remember
got
exactly.
bent windows. So.
Yeah.
Black interior though, right?
Yeah, black. I think.
I think I wired a nitrous
You
setup
you probably wired the nitrous setup on
In
his,
his
but
car.
I didn't do it.
years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what the setup was under the hood. I
'Cause
can't
he used to
tell.
run
We might be
Bliss.
calling you back because if he ever gets back to where he wants to run it, he's wanting to put the nitrous on it because Scott told him at par, said, well, you need to spray a little nitrous to bring the temperature down on the
Mhm.
blower a little bit.
Yeah.
And he
Oh, we
wants
put a
to-
blower on it.
Yeah, he put a little under the hood blower. It's all under the hood, but he don't have enough room, for the
Hmm.
plate.
That car was fast on nitrous though.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was a quick car.
We shocked a lot of people over there at Greer because we run the 864 list.
That's
Mhm.
yeah.
And
That's
we
where I
moved all
met
the way
him.
up to #1 spot.
Yeah.
The only thing that me and him was over there, and he was having trouble tuning it, and I told him, I said, I'll go with you, I'll help you tune it, but you're gonna have to listen to me. And we got over there, and I was tuning on it. We'd run like 6.0s. We was right on the fives, bumping the fives. We was out running most of them, and they resprayed the track, and I went up there to look at the track, and I come back, and he had changed the numbers, turned it all the way up. Well, I told him, I said, don't do that, I told him that before we started, don't do that, let's creep up on it, and he did that, and he went out there, as soon as he hit it, he blew the tires. I turned around, walked back to the pit, I said, he turned it up, didn't he? And his brother said, yeah, he turned it up. He come back, he said, I turned it up, I shouldn't have. He said, I won't do that next time. I said, there might not be no next time. Because,
Yeah.
you know, if you're not going to listen to me, I'm not going to waste my time coming.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
So he promised me now he'd listen. But,
Yeah, you got to.
yeah. Well, I mean, he don't do motors. You know, he does environmental stuff. So he knows his deal on environmental, but I know a little bit more about motors than he does. That's why he
That was
brings it
a-
to me.
That was a pretty factory car, though. If I recall the one it was at my house, it was a pretty factory
So
car.
it had a lot of Bondo in it and stuff. He cut out of it when Danny redid it.
I tried to buy that car from McGreer one night.
He paid 20 on that car when he bought it.
I want to say that's what I offered him.
Yeah. He had more than that in it after that, though.
Yeah.
'Cause He
Yeah.
had already been through the motor, and we put a power glide in it and changed the gear in the rear end. And
When's you coming back out? 864 list live and well. We got Eddie and Darren putting on the 864 Outlaws now.
has Eddie got his new car, his Camaro back out?
I
Not
think it's
yet.
up at Matt's getting cage work. I
Right.
forget what he's getting.
Buddy of mine,
Got a bunch of stuff.
Dayton Clayton, painted it for
Yep.
him, DC Customs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he
Killer
painted my little
job.
truck, but I've
I
seen
saw
his
it in
Camaro
his
out
shop
there.
the other day when I was over at Eddie's house. I brought him his scales back, and
Yeah.
Looks amazing.
Yeah,
He sent me
yeah.
some pictures of
Dayton
was
it.
good.
Dayton does good work. He's got my Impala up there right now,
Really?
straightening out some body work on it.
what year Impala?
68 fastback. That's my car show car,
Yeah.
Thanks.
you know. But I had some
Thanks,
places messing up under the paint, and I couldn't get my other guys to go do it. So I called Dayton. He's a good friend of mine. He said, "Yeah, bring it up there," and he had it done in a week. But I told him I wanted to cut and buff it, and he said, "Well, the clear's a little thin, so the only way I can do it is add more clear, because if I buff it the way it is, you'll have a pink car." And I said, "I don't want a pink car."
No.
Right. Yeah.
You know. So he's redoing it, and I'm not rushing him, but I would like to have it back. But
Yeah.
he knows that.
He does some really killer work from what
But
I've
he
seen.
does motorhome stuff too. You know,
Really?
he does a lot of warranty work on motorhomes.
Okay.
So you know, he does big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's got a big shop now.
Yeah.
Where's he at now?
He's up like going out of Inman
Inman,
before you
yeah.
get to that golf course up there. What's it? Can't think of what the name of that golf course is.
Links.
Link? No, not Links.
That's Landry.
Inman,
I
the
don't know.
golf course on the left, like
Yeah,
before you
it's
get
on
to
the left.
Campobello?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
can't think of the
He's
golf
just,
course
He's
name.
just
but-
right outside of Inman.
Okay.
He needs to bring his car out to the 864 list. We need to
Mhm.
get.
He's got one too. I put some
Yeah.
suspension under his car, and he's got like a turbo on a
Mhm.
LS motor.
Yeah.
It's pretty fine.
He's got an F body. Or
Yeah.
like
With
a
flames on
catfish. Catfish car.
His exhaust comes out one side.
Mm-hmm.
It don't. I think both of them dump out one side. I think.
His car is definitely.
Village Greens. That's what it is.
Billy Green.
Billy-
Yeah, Village Greens, Forrest says.
Will she greens is what Forrest
Huh.
said.
I think spell check got him on that one.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they get me too.
So that's what you did for work, though. You worked on people's cars around here.
That's how I paid for everything. I actually, when I had another little shop over here, I worked on cars, and somebody broke in and stole all my tools and stole my wheels off of it. So my dad was a carpenter. He built houses. My whole family was carpenters. I'm the only one that ended up being a mechanic. Now I got a sister. She was a school teacher, like my mama was, and he dang, lost that train.
Did your
But-
family like cars?
Not as much as I did. Now he told me, he said, "I'm gonna build you a shop," but he wanted to put me way out in the woods out there, and I'm like, "I need that location. I need that corner spot right here." He's like, "No, you can't have that spot." I'm like, "I need that spot."
So you grew up right here.
Oh, we had horses and cows on all this land. I lived here all my life. This house next door was the one I was raised in,
Okay.
and I had two brothers that lived up here, but both of them's passed away right now. But my dad helped me. He was going to build me a garage, so we started building a garage. And he said, "I'm just going to put a house on top of it so I can get you out of mine." So I started over there, and I worked on cars in the basement. Well, I'd
Yeah.
take that money and go race, and come back and built this whole shop off just winning money racing. So I never got in debt on any of this shop. So I
Interesting.
paid for it as I went.
Yeah.
I used to do pretty good at winning money, but it's a lot tougher now.
Your son's doing it all
Yeah,
now for
son's
you.
doing it. He's building him a new shop.
Yeah.
He bought a new house, and he's getting a lot of bulldozer work done. And I went by there and looked at it today, and they've done a lot of bulldozer work.
So the moment, I know everybody else is curious as well, and me, of course. Where did the name Turtle come from?
Everybody asks me that.
That's what we want to know.
My wife said that I met her brothers in a creek. You know, my 3 cousins and my little brother, we was all walking down the creek, and her brothers, my wife's brothers, was coming up the creek, and we met like that, and they took me to their house, you know, and that's where I met my wife. Well, she didn't really pick up on that I wanted to date her then. You know, I was more like a brother.
Yeah.
You know, because I was hanging around her brothers. But she said that they gave me that name, but they didn't give it to me because I got it back from, we always had a swimming pool, and I would stay in the water all the time. And, you know, when you see a turtle in the water, what's the first thing you see? His head and his eyes. Well, that's how I come up. And everybody's like, you look like a turtle. You look like a turtle. So that's where it kind of, even back way before I started driving, everybody's like, well, you fast, you ought to be called Rabbit. I said, no, that's my son's nickname. I said, you can have a slow turtle and a fast turtle. I said, I'm just a fast turtle.
Yeah.
So, but I would assume everybody associates it with racing, and that's not where it even came from.
No, it didn't even come from racing. No, I want people to think I'm slow.
Yeah.
Or slow on the tree.
Yeah, or slow anywhere. They wanna say I can beat him. His name's Turtle. You know,
Yeah, right, okay.
But I went by that name since I was 13 years old. So it was way before any car even come in the picture.
Yeah.
So you don't
That's
change
crazy.
your name just because you fool with cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Stick
it's
with it.
easier to remember, really. You know, somebody's got a nickname, you can remember that better than you can remember their real name. Yeah.
So that's what everybody said. Turtle to my carburetor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Turtle.
They just
They
knew who
take
it
it to
was.
Turtle, he fix it. I get people that tell other people that Turtle built my motor. Well, Turtle didn't build their motor, you know,
Just
but
put it in.
they just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that way they can, you know, go in there and say, well, if Turtle did it, it's got to be right, you know.
Oh, I
But
see.
he don't do it unless it's right, you know. And that's why people bring me stuff, because they know that I done it right.
Yeah.
Well, these look right, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I put a lot of meticulous time in these, but that's all I got to do now. I mean, I was going to quit racing, then my wife passed away, and I kind of we was going to travel some, and I said, well, I got more family really, you know, at the racetrack than I do my local family, you know, my real family. So I go out there and I get to hang around my son, you know, and be around him some, and which I don't get to see him as much when he's working and gone racing, and now he moved all his stuff up to Gaffney.
He used to work out of here as well.
Well, he helped me when he was little, but when he was about 16 or 17, he went to Park, you know, and he's been working for Scott, and Scott's been helping him a lot, you know. I tried to train him about using the right wrench for the right thing, and he wanted to use a pair of pliers or adjustable wrench. And when he went over to Scott's, I'm like, Scott, I ain't gonna put up with that right there. You got to use the right tool for the right job.
Right, yeah.
He won't say nothing. I said,
Oh, he did, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he did. Scott straightened him out, made him do better. And I told him, I said, you need to learn how to run all these machines. I said, not just because, you know, you need to know that. I said, if anything ever happened to you, you couldn't race, you would be able to do something different.
Yeah.
You know, and you need to be multi-talented. You don't need to be able to do just one thing.
And he's been with Scott now for
I don't even know how
long time, I
He's
believe.
33 now. So
yeah. So
he's been with him 15, 20 years
Yeah.
going on. He
So-
left one time and tried to be a professional bracket racer, and he got to go have some fun. He got to go fishing and stuff. He likes to do that. He runs slot cars and stuff. He likes to do that. But he went back to Park.
So would you say he's Scott's right-hand man?
I would say so. You know,
Like
because
20 years
now
later.
Jody does.
Yeah.
Jody does the heads and the blocks.
Jody,
now.
I've heard that. name.
Jody is the technical man over
Yeah,
there, and the other
okay.
guys, you know, they can do all that stuff.
Because I know you like Gene Fulton. You got Stacy Hall, I believe, is his.
Well, Tommy
right
was
hand.
was Gene's
okay.
right hand man, and Tommy had a stroke, and
okay.
that slowed Tommy down a little bit. And I
Yeah.
think Stacy's picked it up. You
Yeah,
know.
I'm about to say because I've only heard Stacy to Gene as.
Yeah. Well,
Kevin to-
Tommy used to race with me back when I started first racing and stuff. Tommy was tough.
Okay.
You know, Tommy does mostly when he was at Gene's. I don't know if he's back or not, but he did all the plumbing on the nitrous under the intake and stuff, set up the multi-kits and stuff,
Yeah.
wired them, and Gene then built the motor, and Tommy did mostly the technical
Right.
nitrous part like you probably do.
Okay. Nice.
Well, what's in the future? What do people see? Y'all doing big events this year?
Well, I'm kind of bouncing this year a little bit. I've run points so many times. I'm just ready to go run different people because I just like seeing other people, But the way gas is, you don't know. If gas gets bad, I'm gonna be local.
Yeah.
If gas comes back down and I have enough money to go to a race, I can't go to every race. But I mean, I've already spent about $3,000 this year and hadn't won. I won 500, so I got to do a little better.
Yeah, that sounds
It's
like
tough.
my type of racing. I just spend all my money.
Right. Well, most of us racers. That's what we do. There's a few ones in there like Maddox, Shane Maddox. He wins good, and,
Yeah.
and Joe Gary, he does good, and
Yep.
Kevin, they do good. So anytime you got to run any of them, you better set up on your package.
I remember another guy
Try to get that check.
years ago. He had 2 matching dragsters. I can't remember his name, but they called him Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
What was his name?
He's driving like a pro mod now. He's
Yeah.
got a '69 Camaro. It's
Ah.
pretty bad.
Okay.
He's probably got 5 kits on it.
Hmm.
He's probably in the 350 range.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what his ET is, but I think Nesbitt does his engine.
Yep. Yeah.
And he's gone fuel injection on his stuff, but he's got a bunch of stuff.
Well, let's see. Mama says hey,
Hey, Mama,
and Forrest said Turtle needs a no prep car.
who said that?
Forrest.
That
Guy from
buy the car, I drive it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I got enough toys to keep running.
Mhm.
You know, buy some toys, I might can do that.
Yeah. No
I
prep
don't
racing.
know if
that's
I
don't
all.
know
like
if you
heads
get
up
enough
racing.
for it.
I mean, I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
I like the gasser stuff, but it just don't pay enough money for me to justify building a car like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And you got to travel a lot, and it really don't pay you to travel. If I don't have a chance to win my money back, I don't go.
Yeah.
You think the money you've made over the years pays for it so far?
Well, I tell you, what else would you do with it if you had it? I mean, you'd probably might even be dead now. You might.
Yeah.
This right here, and the thing with Kevin too, it keeps you out of trouble because you don't have money to go get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fully understand.
Now, when I was little, I was first tore up my first Impala. My daddy said, "I'm gonna help you fix it the first time." Well, the second time I tore it up, I'm under the car working on it, and my brother lived next door to me, and he was big into music and stuff. He had actually Artemis Pyle come over there, the Marshall Tucker Band come over to his house. They all hung out
Yeah.
up here. Well, I'm laying under my car working on it, and they up there with these big JBL speakers and stuff, rocking the whole countryside.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, at least I get to listen to good music.
Mhm.
If I hadn't been working on that car, I'd have probably been involved in that stuff, and
Yeah.
no telling where I'd be now.
Right.
But cars led me into a career, and I go to some schools, and do tech schools for try to train kids, what they can get into, and I take the cars and show them sometimes, but I hadn't done that in a while, but they need to start that back, tech schools to teach kids, about cars, which most of them are all computerized now, and that's what made me popular with tuning now, because nobody does the old stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Everybody does the computer stuff. I mean, some of the guys can do that, but they don't do that because it don't make enough money. I do it because it's fun, and that's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah.
So, would you think, like, when I was in high school, you let me come over here, I'll never forget, my not senior skip day, it was career day or shadow day. You could shadow somebody, and I was like,
Yeah.
I want to go Turtles. And he signed a permission slip for me to come here, and there was like days during the week I'd come here, even after I graduated. But I would hope, like, I was always just excited to be here. I didn't even have to be working on a car. I'm there, and he's going to show me something. It was also like, working on these engines or just organizing a toolbox.
Yeah.
He
Well,
was
you got to
like,
learn your tools
yeah,
before
learn
you
your
can do
tools.
that. A lot of people think, well, I want to go work at Turtles because he works on the fast motors and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you don't start out.
Mm-mm.
You sweeper boy
Uh-huh,
first. You
yeah.
start out sweeping and putting up tools,
Yeah.
And once you learn what tool, like go get me a 9/16, you bring back the right wrench.
Yeah.
You bring me a 5/8 when I want a 9/16, that's just wasted time.
But I just wonder if like that would always got me excited. There's kids today that if they have somebody like Turtle or somebody racing or big name in their area, if they would go like, hey, what do I have to do to
I've tried to
work
shadow
here?
some kids, and teach them, but a lot of them won't come and do the dues. It takes, like this car here, I had a guy that was going to drive this car. He was a younger kid, but he's a pretty good-sized kid. It was kind of going to be tight for him. But I told him, I said, you come over and help me with the car. I'll put you in this car, because I'm getting to an age to where I probably have to have a younger driver eventually if I'm going to stay in it. I'm going to stay in it till I quit having fun, then I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
That'd be time for me to stop. And I still have a little fun. Not as much as I used to, but still have fun.
They want the instant gratification.
Yeah.
They don't.
They want to be you now.
Yeah.
They don't want to pay the dues and
Sure.
wait for
Yeah.
it. You don't put a kid in a 4-second dragster and get him to learn unless you're trying to get rid of him
Yeah.
and
4
tear your
seconds.
car up.
Ain't no way.
I wouldn't put one in a 7-second car. That's a good start. 7 second, 8 second. Learn how to drive that first. Step up, little baby steps. I didn't let my son start out. He started out in junior dragster, and then he went to the Monza, which is run like 7 flat in the Monza. Then we got him down in the 6s, and after he got comfortable in the 6s, he moved over and drove my other dragster, one I fixed for my wife, and he drove it for a while, and I fixed it up, totally redid it for my wife, and then next thing I know, she gave it to him, and I'm like, he went fishing. He wasn't going to help me work on it, so she gave it to him, and I didn't have a problem with that. And then he sold it and bought him a Mullis car, and he kept it for a while, and then he bought a Maddox car, and so he's had good results with Maddox, and they help both of us out tremendously.
Yeah.
You won't meet any better people than them.
Oh no.
Are they local?
Dale.
Greenville.
Yeah.
Greenville?
Yeah.
It's just Dale and
Boonville.
it's Dale and Shane that build the cars, or is it in Kip too?
Kip is the one that builds the chassis.
Okay.
Dale does the door cars,
Yeah.
and Dale can do a dragster too, but Shane worked in a machine shop.
Okay.
And he just left that machine shop and going to help his dad and them because they've got so much work to do. Shane can do wiring too, I'm pretty sure. But he can also, if they get a CNC machine, he could go in there and make parts
Right.
that they need because, you don't want to have to go buy them if you can make them.
Yeah. Yeah. The Maddoxes, those are.
And
great
Joel
people.
is Dale's brother.
Yep.
Now, Joel does the painting on some of them.
He's a trip.
Yeah, me and Joel get along good. I get along good with all of them.
I remember years ago when I'd always go with the Mosleys, I started to know the Maddoxes very well, and Joel, he'd always shoulder check me. He said, "What are you gonna do about it?" Or walk by, so here comes trouble. Those are good people. I like Joel
Well,
a
you was a
lot.
little rambunctious then too.
Oh yeah,
You matured a lot the last few years.
Uh-huh.
Your dad's more proud of you. He was kind of getting worried there a little bit.
Yeah.
He
That's
thought
part
you was
of
going to go down the wrong road, but you actually turned out pretty
I
good.
took him under my wing.
Yeah, is that what it was?
No. That's definitely not.
I think insight into, somebody like teaching them things, that's right, kind of a Christian way of bringing people up, is a good thing, and you teach them the right way.
Yeah.
Don't go out there and get mad and throw your helmet and start cussing and fussing. That sets a bad example for all the kids.
Oh yeah.
If they see a kid, see you do it, then next thing you know, they're going to be throwing their helmet and they're going to be talking back to their parents and stuff. And you don't race with me and talk like that. If you're going to cuss and do stuff like that, going to act up the wrong kind of way, then don't come around me.
Right.
I want good people around me because I think you put good people around you, good things happen.
That's my thing. I don't argue at the track or on on online and stuff.
Yeah.
People start arguing, I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't have
I
time
don't
for
like
it.
drama.
And I don't want to. Really, what turned me on to about just not doing it in general is you see it later on camera or someone's taking a picture or video of it,
Yeah.
and you look foolish.
Yeah.
And so I just don't even now. Like if someone argues online, I don't give them the time of day. If they argue in person, I'll just get in my car and go.
Yeah.
Like
Well, you're like me. You don't like drama. I don't like drama.
I just don't like looking stupid for no
Right.
reason.
Right.
That's
We can do that too easy already.
yeah, I can do that. I can do that myself. I don't need anybody else helping. Laney said y'all spent more time at the lake than you did working.
They
Back
said
in
we
the
did.
day, we may
Yeah.
have, we had a house at the lake back in,
Mm-hmm.
On Bowen,
yeah, and Greenwood. We had one in Greenwood too. But I used to ski real big. I was big in the slaloms.
barefoot,
Uh,
barefoot
I
skiing.
tried barefoot. My feet's not big enough.
Yeah,
Every time I
that
tried
was
barefoot, it hurt my feet so much, and I'd plunder.
Be mean and no prep.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of people wanting you to help in some no prep cars.
Yeah,
That's a different world.
yeah.
They
I
don't-
like that no prep, but
There's no bulb or anything like that.
Well,
well, they
hit
gotta
on them.
listen. A lot of people want you to do it, and I helped Danny. Danny would give me like $100, to come to the track and help him, and I don't mind helping people, but you can't hardly go pay your way in and go spend your time over there doing no prep and not make anything. I still got to make a living somehow.
Yeah.
If it's nothing but just pay my way in and buy me supper or something like that.
A lot of it, a lot of the no prep is traveling too.
Yeah.
So there's not like Mike Greer's not going to let you run the back end of the track. He's not going to let you run the front of the track with no prep. Probably not.
Yeah.
But you have to go to Darlington.
Well, his
or something
insurance
like that.
is fine.
IHR.
Yeah, you don't want to violate that. If you have probably a lot of incidents, people getting hurt, then IHRA probably pull your plug, and they're not going to sponsor you. You're not going to be a sanctioned track anymore.
He's got enough to worry about with noise.
Right, he does. And
Yeah.
people's trying to stir that up again, and they have no right.
Yeah, I
Because the
saw.
track was there first.
I saw he had a news. Someone told me he was on the news a week or a month ago or so, talking about it again.
Yeah.
I actually saw him. I was at Waffle House Saturday night, and he walked in.
Yeah.
Down in Greer.
Yeah.
He was in there.
Well, they ought to leave him alone. I mean, they've already punished him enough, not letting him run to 11 o'clock, cut him out to 10, got quit by 10,
Right.
but all these
And he
realtors-
abides by it.
yeah, and all the realtors and stuff built these houses knowing there was a track there. And they sold it to these people in the winter. So when spring come around, we all come back to the track, they like, this ain't gonna happen. But he was there first. His grandfather was in.
I live right across the golf course, right down by the track. And you can be in my house watching TV on a Saturday and hear that track running.
Yeah.
So I know those people were out there in them apartments.
Well,
It's-
go do something on Saturday. Go,
it's
go take a
rattling.
trip somewhere.
It's only 4 or 5 hours.
Mhm.
Just knock yourself out, go
Mhm.
walk the swamp rabbit, something like that.
Go find something to do. You don't have to try to take a man's livelihood down. I mean, if you're going to close these tracks, you're going to put people back on the street, and you're going to have more accidents, and you're going to have people getting hurt because there's no rescue there. Let me tell you, there's one thing I learned about street racing versus being at the track. If you wreck your car on the street, your friends scatter. They don't want to be
Yeah.
involved in it because they don't want to go to jail. So they're going to leave you. If you're at the track and you get hurt, you got rescue there that helps you. They run to you, not away from you.
Right.
Because nobody wants to go to jail, for racing on the street. And you don't want to get caught there because if you get caught there, they're going to automatically take your car or take your license or something. And I always said, well, I like the rescue being there because, at least somebody's there to look out for you.
Yeah, or catch on fire, something like
Yeah.
that. You got people there.
Yeah. When you're by yourself, you and the good Lord.
Maybe we'll get you tuning a no prep car though.
Yeah. We'll see.
That'll
Get me
be,
get me a good GM car.
We're gonna
Ultra go right through you.
Yeah, done got you.
Okay, yeah.
we're gonna get him out there tuning a no prep car. He's gonna come tune my Volvo.
Oh,
Well, not tune it because of EFI, but he's gonna.
yeah.
We'll help.
Do
We'll
some
help.
chassis adjustment.
He probably, honestly, he'd probably drive it better than me because he's probably faster on the trans brake button than I ever will be.
Yeah. We'll get you on the game and find out.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll hit the game here in a minute. Yeah, I know I'm slow. So he said, and Ben's right. He said the difference in the street and the track. You wreck on the street, everybody goes running. You wreck at the track, everybody comes to you.
What would you rather have?
I'd rather not wreck at all.
Right. I would too. But I mean, if you're gonna wreck or have a wreck,
Yeah.
you're not always the one that causes it. The other car might hit you and make you wreck, and he might not even get hurt.
That's something people don't realize is you don't have to race. You don't have to line up with the car beside you. And if you know that person's, like you were saying, you wouldn't put someone unskilled in this car back here.
Right.
But if you saw someone in this car and you knew in your mind, you said, that person probably shouldn't be in there, you don't have to run them. Is it worth a $3,000 check? No.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Load
like
your car up and take it back home. I'll be done.
it's like a video that Tim McGamus. That dude's hilarious.
Yeah, he is.
And he put that video up. He fixed that one Pro Mod twice because it got wrecked. A dude hit him under power.
It wasn't the guy's fault that owned the car.
It was the dude in the other lane. Dude hit him under power. He fixed it. Dude went out after he got the car back, and he brought it right back after that race. Same thing happened. Dude, another guy said, you look over the guy next to you, and you see they're an absolute retard, you don't have to race
Well,
them.
I mean, if you got a lot of money, you can get anything you want. You can drive a funny car if you got enough money. That don't mean you can drive it. You know, but you can get in there and then you show how much of a fool you are. You know.
But I'd hate to be the guy that had to get his car fixed twice for the same reason.
Ask anybody that got any questions they want to know. I don't mind trying to.
Well, we're right at 1 hour and 30 minutes, so time goes by so fast.
It flies.
I know we've been there a while.
Hearing stories. So I'm gonna slowly wrap it up. But where so for people that have not met you, they'll find you at Greer on a Thursday
nights and
Saturday.
I can walk around and help people. You know, if I see somebody that, like what we did Thursday night, there's a little guy in the streetcar. He was there and he didn't know anything about it. And I told him, he was sitting there talking to his buddies. I said, let some air out of your tires. Will that work? And he had like 40 pounds of air in there, and I think he dropped it down to like 25. He picked up from like a 850 to a 815 or something. You know,
either that or it was maybe a 950 to a 916. One of the two. Yeah.
That was 9.
Yeah, 9. Yeah, Josh Mathis.
Yeah.
Yep. Good dude.
Alan said, didn't you pull a man out of old Henry J at Shadyside 30 years ago?
On fire.
Oh.
Yes, that is. He was on fire.
What happened was Ronnie raced the track up, and he didn't have the gravel on the sides, and the guy was looking back, and he ran off the side, and he pulled it back, and it flipped on its side. He went down the track with his hands out the window on the road.
Oh, dang.
He had a keg for a fuel cell. All the fuel was leaking over him. It wasn't on fire yet. He went to get out, he's on fire. Well, the track fire extinguisher did not work. So I run to my car, and a buddy of mine, Fred Campbell, grabbed me by the butt and throwed me at this guy. And he's fully engulfed in flames. And I'm shooting him with, I thought I had a halon, but it was a powder. And I shot him up and down and put him out. And, you know, that guy come back after, he did live. He come back and told me later, you know, he was burnt real bad. But he told me I'd be dead right now if you hadn't put me out. Because, you know, nobody else come to help.
Alan said he saw it. He said he was there.
Oh, it was there. A bunch of I think Dale Maddox
crazy.
and Fred Campbell and a bunch of us was all there racing at Shadyside when that happened.
But like you said, if you're at a track, people ain't going running when you wreck. They'll be there to help you.
Well, I'm there. I try to help people. I mean, I'm not always up there at the right spot, but I was there then. You know, maybe I helped save that guy's life. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, it's all you can.
I couldn't imagine.
If you save one life, just work on the track all the years. I mean, so, for everybody still on here, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's people like Turtle here that we're trying to share their stories and their advice and their career that they've had in racing, and give people something different to listen and talk about than just the normal people arguing online about whose car is faster or whatnot. So if you get to Greer or Shadyside, if you see these cars, just like we talked about last week, these people spent all their life, and it's what they like to do. So, you know, don't be scared to come up, say hello, talk to them, ask questions. that's what we all like to
Yeah.
do. We all like to talk. We were in here talking about these cars before we even set up, and I don't know anything about a rail car at all.
I put a lot of kids in there and let them sit in there too, and do that for the young kids. They get their picture took and stuff. I like doing that, but it's hard to do that while you're racing. But after the race is over, I'm more than happy to help. Let somebody get their picture took.
Yeah. So any Thursday. Thank you, Forrest. We trying. So basically, Brandon Martin said he loves this man.
Brandon Martin.
Honestly, it's stories. It's stories from people that did stuff before we were even there.
Yeah.
That keep us
motivated,
set the way for us, and allow us to keep doing what we're doing. So
we just want to set example, and y'all follow it well. I mean, it could be a lot worse.
It could.
Yeah.
Why not take the time and document it all?
That's right.
So thank y'all. We got someone else next week, of course.
Yep. We're going to say who or just
I'll
wait?
have this saved and posted up on YouTube as well here shortly. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.